Upon reaching his small home, Emor parked the wagon beside his woodpile. He carried the mermaid out of the cart and into the dim warmth of his shack. He asked where she would be most comfortable, and she asked him if he possessed a vessel of water where she could submerge her scales. Emor nodded, explaining he had a large wooden bathing barrel. He carried her over and carefully lowered her into the wooden barrel, filling it with fresh water. Helmi closed her eyes in relief, finding the sanctuary suitable. Emor told Helmi to rest and be at peace. He showed her how he could add heated stones from his hearth into the barrel if the water became too chilled. I shall fetch you something to sustain your strength. Rest easy knowing the door is barred against danger, Emor said, stepping away into his small pantry. He rummaged through his clay jars and fetched a sizable portion of dried fish. Not knowing the precise diet of the sea folk, he guessed this would be familiar to her. He flaked the dried meat into a wooden bowl and bought a small bone knife. It was the best hospitality his humble home could provide. He returned to the bathing barrel and offered the bowl to Helmi. She looked at the dried fish curiously, then took the food with her fingers and ate every morsel with urgency. She had been starved of strength, and the salted meat visibly revived her spirit. Before long, the color returned to her cheeks, and she seemed far more at ease than when he had pulled her from the timbers. However, she soon looked at him with a solemn expression, explaining that she must return to the salt waves. A mermaid could not remain apart from the ocean's brine for very long without losing her magic and suffering a fading death. Emor felt a pang of sorrow. "Must I take you back so soon?" he asked, saddened that this extraordinary encounter was already drawing to a close. "Yes, it grieves me, but I must taste the salt of the sea before the sun high centers," she replied softly. Emor was a man of his word. He lifted Helmi from the wooden barrel and carried her back out to the wagon. Once she was secured safely on the front bench, he climbed up beside her. He shook the reins, beginning the journey back to the coast where he had found her 2 hours earlier. As the wagon rattled toward the shores of Lingholm Island, Emor looked at her. "Perhaps we should seek a different shore," he suggested. "The Viking ship has passed, but the sharks may still linger in the strait, waiting for the scent of blood." Helmi smiled, marveling at the wisdom of the mortal man. "You speak with the wisdom of the elders, Emor. That is an inspired thought. It will keep me clear of the predators and hasten my return to my king. Please take me to another shore, and my gratitude will span the ages." Emor turned the horse around and went down a different coastal path, guiding the wagon toward a hidden cove a mile further down the coast. It took extra time to navigate the rocky trail, but when the wagon rolled into the pebbles, the cove was empty and silent. The conditions were perfect for their secret task. Emor lifted Helmi from the wagon seat, using his boot to nudge the wooden latch shut. He carried the sea maiden down to the water's edge and waded out to the surf until the freezing salt water reached his waist. He gently released Helmi into the tide. She shivered as her body adapted to the cold sea. Then she looked up at him. "You may let go now. The ocean is mending my wounds. If you will watch over me from the shore while I regain my swimming strength, it would bring me great comfort." Emor waded back until the water was only to his knees, turning to watch Helmi glide gracefully through the surf. After a few moments of swimming, she turned and beckoned him to come back out to the deeper water. Emor waded back out to her, embracing her one last time, so they could speak above the sound of the waves. Helmi reached to her ear and unfastened a heavy earring. It was large and perfectly round, and Emor wondered how he had missed it before. Her thick, dark hair had kept it hidden from his sight until now. The ornament was crafted from a pearlescent seashell, inlaid with fine green stones arranged in the shape of a guiding star. It was unlike any treasure Emor had ever seen. Helmi pressed it into his palm, telling him it was a magic amulet of the sea folk. She promised that the charm would bring him good fortune, bountiful catches, and fair winds in all his days. Emor accepted the token and lowered her gently back into the ocean. Helmi, he said, I thank you for the amulet, but my only good hope today is your safety. It was a miracle of the gods that I found you today, and you will never leave my thoughts. Meeting you was the true magic, for it has shown me that the world holds wonders beyond our knowing. Magic is merely a discovery we have not made yet. Helmi smiled warmly at him. There is great truth in your words, Emor. I shall always remember your wisdom and your bravery. To face a creature of the hidden world must have brought fear to your heart, yet you showed the character of a hero by putting your fears aside to save me. I am eternally grateful. Emor smiled back. I have learned much on this tide. I am glad that I could aid your return to your kingdom. The charm will be a treasured possession, but my greatest reward will be the memory of this enchanted day. Emor stood in silence as Helmi dived beneath the waves and swam out toward the deep. He watched the empty surface of the sea for a long time before turning back to walk to his wagon. He had forgotten all about the empty clam basket. As he looked at the shimmering amulet in his hand, he knew it was a fair exchange. He may have lost a meal, but he had gained a piece of the world's magic.